All right, it is 7 o'clock on Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, and we are going to open the regular board meeting. If you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. I never did roll call.
That's okay. Trustees, Chris Samples?
Here.
John Talbot? Here. William Luxinger?
Here.
Dina Simpson? Jen Christensen?
Here.
Jared Doan?
Here.
President Rick Worm?
Here.
Treasurer Brenda Onabany? Here. I'm Clerk Sandy Mazen here. Attorney David Silverman? Here. Public Works Supervisor Brett Fergie?
Here. All right, so we're going to skip the consent agenda. We'll go right to public comment. We'll go to it again at the end, if anybody wants to stick around for the end. But we'll go to public right at the beginning, just so if people can get in and out, we can keep social distancing to a maximum, actually.
If you want to speak, though, you do have to use the microphone. Okay. Let's use the king first, then mine.
He's trustee.
He's a trustee. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was just giving him a microphone. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep, you can either stand up there or come down or around, whichever works for you. Okay. It should be on.
Is it green? Yeah, it's on.
Okay. So my issue, I guess, the village called me a few weeks ago telling me that my water bill was crazy high, and usually I use 3,000 gallons a month, and somehow my house that had one person living in it went through 71,000 in a month. So a little upset because I've talked to them numerous times, and basically they have told me that there is no way that I went through that amount of water, but really there's nothing they can do about it because that's what the meter said. Public Works has came to the house and looked at everything. Everything is running how it should. There's no leaky faucets, no running toilet. I don't have a pool. I don't have an irrigation system, nothing out of the ordinary. And regardless, even if any of those things were issues, there's still no way to go through 71,000 gallons when I usually only go through 3,000. They said commercial buildings don't even go through that. If you have a pool, what are pools? Usually 16,000, 20,000 gallons. So just a little upset because I don't know what else to do and where else to take that. And even more so, if I went through that much water, I have no problem paying it. But there's no way that I went through that. So I just don't know what else to do, so
Just for clarification, we have had in the past, we have had residences without pools.
Mm-hmm.
It was 108,000. I think that was the second highest. There was a higher one, but we have had people do that when they accidentally leave hoses on or stuff like that. They have been that high.
Right, and I mean, and they told me too that if that would be the issue, my yard would have been flooded, my neighbor's yard would have been flooded. How my house sits, it sits up a bit, so if it had been left on, which it wasn't, it would have directly went into my neighbor's yard and they would have had flooding.
So, can I ask a question too? My name's Dina Simpson, by the way.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. So I was just wondering, have you had a plumber or anybody check the system on the inside, like to see if there's any leaks or anything like that going on, or anybody on the inside check?
I mean, no, we went through the house. Public Works went through the house. My boyfriend, my father. If there's a leak, it's very obvious, you know. So we've went through everything. It's newer construction, and now it's working. It's going back to normal. So
You can't speak without a microphone, I'm sorry. Sir, can you move?
you have to come up.
Yeah, the video recording doesn't pick it up, that's why.
So since then, everything's been working like normal, and in the last week, it's only used 600 gallons, and nobody's been there to fix anything. So that's where this just makes no sense, and...
So do you mind if I give a little background?
Yeah.
So I did reach out to this resident when we were processing water bills, and I noticed 71,000 gallons. As we all know, that is an extremely high usage for a residential property. So I called her right away, discussed with her the issues. Public Works went out the same day, went through it, checked the meter. We can't find anything wrong with the meter. I talked with her several times to see if there was something inside the house. So the way that I left the situation for this month was that, we would continue to monitor the meter this month, she would continue to monitor the
Mhm.
inside of her house, and that we'd regroup at the end of this month. We have been out there to monitor the meter several times now and double check it. It is working properly for all intents and purposes that we can see. So at this point, we're kind of in the same boat.
Mhm.
I don't know what else to do because the 71,000 gallons appears to have passed through her meter.
And it's my understanding that at the end of the month, we were gonna look at it and see if that was like, still like back.
Yeah, and we've checked it.
Yeah, they've checked it, we've checked it. In the last week, it's like 600 and some
We
gallons.
actually just checked it yesterday, and it's running like it should. It's using her normal usage, so something happened last month, I'm just not sure what.
I mean, I don't have a solution to erase it.
Mhm.
Typically, what I've done in the past is I've had, residents have a plumber look at the inside system to see if there's something wrong.
Mhm.
And then at that point, when a plumber or a licensed plumber has told us everything is good to go, not just having, like, they looked at the meters and stuff
Mhm.
like that, not
Mhm.
necessarily your system or any of the running water, anything like that. And then at that point, then in the past, and I think it's only happened twice, not anything to that extent, where we've made some concessions for it. We didn't like forego the entire bill, but we've made some concessions for it. But generally, that's after we've had a professional, not the village, but the resident had a professional plumber look at it.
Right. And so, 'cause also what we discussed is that if we found an issue, then we could, figure a solution. But if there is no problem that anybody finds, then there's just no solution to that
Well,
besides I
at
pay
point,
that?
that's when we regroup and we figure out what we need to do at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So-
typically what we've done in the past as far as, and there's not been often, I think in the entire 6 years, it's been twice
Mhm.
when I've been on the board. So, I mean, that's usually after a licensed plumber has taken a look at it on behalf of the resident, and then, because if we've done everything to check our system to make sure it's working, if
Mhm.
that's still working right and we're monitoring it, then having a licensed plumber checking your system on the inside, like, yes, it's all 100% good to go,
Mhm.
then at that point, when we regroup and take a look at it, then we decide what we can do, to kind of meet in the middle or whatever. I can't, I don't know what happened to 71,000, and yes, it does seem.
Right. I mean, I'm one person.
Right,
There's,
no, I totally get that.
and I work
But
6 days a
also
week.
can't, like, if, you would not believe the number of people that call and typically say how much, and yeah, 71,000 is ridiculous. But now that we've checked everything on our end of things, if a plumber checks your end of things and we still look throughout and everything is monitored along the way,
Mhm.
then we can look and regroup and figure out what to do with that.
Okay. So would I need just like something written from them, or how do I go about
I
that?
think that's what we did when we had we had a water softener issue at one point in time as well, that was pretty heavy duty.
Yeah, we looked at that.
And so
Mhm.
they had, the plumber basically came in and did all, like a system check on the inside, and then put everything that he noticed was in good shape and was in good, working condition, and that wouldn't warrant anything that would leak or run anything to that amount.
Okay.
And that's basically then get that to Sandy, and then her and I will take a look at it and see what we can do from there.
Okay. That works for me then. Okay.
And that was her, I'm pretty sure, when her and I have had the discussion, it's been.
Oh yeah, and I mean she's
Yeah.
always been very nice
The
when we talk.
regrouping,
Yeah.
That's the regrouping when we figure out what to do from there.
Okay.
I have a
Sounds good then.
quick question before we move along. I assume that we checked the inside, I assume that when we reported, it was the remote reporting, and that we went in and checked the inside and the remote match?
Yes.
All right, thank
Yes.
you.
Mhm.
That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. I'm good then.
You feel good then?
Mhm.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming in.
All right, let's get through this agenda.
Can you hold on one moment, please?
Oh.
Or have Brenda read do the consent agenda?
I'll wait for you.
Uh,
I know how Brenda likes to speak. Certainly.
Hold on, I need a microphone.
Mhm. Do you, I was gonna ask you, do you wanna wait, do you wanna do public, or do you wanna wait till we get talking about it? 'Cause we'll let you speak during it. Okay. All right, let's do the consent agenda. Get knocked out.
Tonight for approval on the consent agenda is item number 1, the September 8th, 2020 regular board meeting minutes. Item number 2, the bills payable warrant list dated October 13th, 2020. Item number 3 is the ordinance number 20-14, the tax levy ordinance. And number 4 is the resolution number 20-63, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of quote from Sison Tree Service LLC for removal of dead trees and stump grinding.
At this time, do any of the board members wish to remove any of the items from the consent agenda for further discussion? Entertain the first motion.
I'll make a motion.
Is that my sheet?
No, I just have a brain fart. I move to place agenda items 1, 2, 3, and 4 inclusively as consent agenda items. Further, I move that all items be considered together as a consent agenda.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to place items 1 through 4 inclusively as the consent agenda. Williams seconds. I don't need to do discussion because we already did the removal, so roll call, please.
Jen?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Dina?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Motion passes at 7:13.
I move to adopt items 1, 2, 3, and 4 inclusively on the consent agenda in a single group pursuant to the omnibus vote procedure specified in the Illinois Municipal Code.
Second.
Jen makes a motion to adopt items 1 through 4 inclusively on the consent agenda. Williams seconds. Roll call, please.
Jared?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Dina?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Motion passes 7:14. Don't need item C. Temporary COs. So, we've been asked about getting temporary COs from another developer. We've basically told them the same thing we told the first developer, that if they want a temporary CO during the winter months,
I actually did not tell them that.
I did.
Oh, okay. I was like, I did not. I told them no.
I did on the phone,
Okay, perfect.
that they'd be subject to the same thing the other developers, because we can't play one or the other, we have to do the same for everybody, and that is, there'd have to be if they approached the board and asked, there would have to be escrow set up with the amount in there to finish the work, and it would be based on our engineer's estimates, not on what their estimates are. And it's the same thing we offered to the other developer, but they would have to come to this board to get that approved, and that would also include the engineer's fees to calculate that. So, did you have anything you wanted to say to this tonight? You can address the board.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason I requested the microphone is this meeting is video and audio recorded for the public, and if you don't speak into the microphone, it doesn't go into the video. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. May I remove my mask to talk?
You're okay.
Okay.
You're good.
So my name is Heidi. I'm representative of Vulcan Building. We're working in the Ogle Crossing subdivisions right now, and our goal is always to have in the driveways and sod prior to closing. It just works better for everyone. However, trying to be a little bit proactive, we have 4 closings coming up that are going to be in late fall and winter months that make putting in a driveway and sod obviously very difficult. With at certain points, sod farms aren't even open, and same with asphalt plants as well. So we had, I guess there's a little misunderstanding over, what if a temp CO is even available, and I guess tonight we're hearing what the terms would be if we were issued a temporary CO. Part of the process when we work with buyers and their lenders is that if the driveway and the sod are not in, because they are part of the contract, we have to escrow those funds with a title company. We give them our bids from our contractors, and the title company holds 1.5 times those bids, and that's per lending requirements to do that. And then once those items are completed, they are re-inspected by the lender before those earnest money funds are released. And so with those escrow funds already being held by the title company per the provisions of the buyer's loan, we're asking that that would be taken into consideration, and we could be issued a temporary CO with the standard procedures that we work with lending.
This is the issue that doesn't want to die for the village. We've been dealing with temporary COs, as you know, with Harvest Glen, and it's been a source of a lot of contention between the village and Harvest Glen. They haven't presented what is being presented here before. This sounds like a requirement of the lenders who finance your construction, that they escrow the funds for the completion of the construction required under the building permit.
Correct.
And so you have that capital available to you to escrow, you're working with your buyers to get that deposited. So there is, and that's always been our concern with Harvest Glen, of course, is where's the guarantee to ensure that they're actually gonna come back in the spring to do the work?
Right.
Because we had kind of a sketchy history with them. This sounds to be a little bit different. I think we'd like to see the escrow agreements that you have to see how those funds are guaranteed to be used specifically for that purpose.
Mhm.
But again, it becomes a policy decision. This is setting up an escrow at the requirement of their lender. And so it achieves some of the things that we have been concerned about in the past. But we need to make sure that we, as Rick said, everyone's being treated on equal terms. Because if Harvest Glen feels that suddenly someone's getting a favor that they're not otherwise getting, you know where that's gonna go.
Well, I know
A
exactly
little more
what it'll-
background, the reason of the escrow, mostly for Harvest Glen, was that escrow was put into the name of the village as well.
Sure.
That we could go in and do the work.
But
without
that
having to
also
go after the
owes,
homeowner.
but as you know, William, that also owes to just the frankly tortured history between
Sure.
Harvest Glen and the village.
Well, I mean, this is a different scenario.
This is a very different scenario.
But the issue then was that contractor completed construction and walked away. And
Mhm.
after a temporary CO was issued, our only recourse was to go after the brand-new homeowner, which we
Mhm.
never wanted to go after our residents. We wanted the developer to finish the projects, which is why we came up with the
Rightfully so.
escrow. And the escrow was a part of the contractor, the resident, and the village.
The big difference in the amount of the escrows that were the problem before was we have to pay prevailing wage. So if we have to step in and do it, we have to pay a higher amount. That's why
So-
we required our engineers to come up with the amount.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So the agreement with a buyer and a lender, and the escrow is set aside, those funds can't be released from that escrow account unless it's to do the job intended for it. So the buyer would have access to those funds only to complete the job specifically designed in that escrow agreement, which would be the sod in the driveway. So that's,
And you do the work. The onus is on you to do the work per the terms of the escrow agreement.
yes.
Okay.
My question with Harvest Glen, I believe that builder didn't include blacktop or sod oftentimes in the contract, and I know that they do now, but I don't know if that was an issue before, that it wasn't actually included in the contract.
Prior to an amendment to the developer's agreement.
Okay, so we always include it on all of our houses, and so blacktop and sod are always included, not seed or anything, so that is then why lending does require us to escrow it, because the house isn't complete per the buyer's contract. So they have to sign off on it in order to even sell, and most times sell that loan over. So the bank is on top of it, and so are we, because we don't have the money until they sign off on it.
And outside of William's concern that we're going back after the new homeowner if this falls apart, we also had the issue with drainage, and that was why the driveway and sod needed to be in place, is because we've run into too many spots where the village is absolutely flat and we have no drainage. So that, again, is another reason we wanted that money escrowed, and we had the ability to get to it if we had to do the work, is because we wanna make sure that everything is on, is up to what the engineering specs for the drainage.
Right.
And a lot, with the culvert going under the driveway, as silly as it sounds, the asphalt, that culvert has to drain as well.
Well, and
Oh, that's true, you have storm sewer. You forget where you guys are.
Me personally, if you guys send the, escrow language over to the attorney, and they give it their blessing, and if we, the only caveat I would say is if we can be added to the escrow as well for the same reasoning,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
okay with it.
yeah,
I don't
so
see the
I'll
need
just,
for a double escrow.
so if you could send me the control documents, that would be good. And then we'll do a quick turnaround owing to the fact that we know you have closings coming up, so.
and just so you know, it's not our escrow agreement, it's
Yeah.
actually the title company's
No,
escrow
understood.
agreement.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's what they use. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No,
Hmm?
not really.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Carmen.
Discussion on Maple Court. Sandy, do you wanna bring us up to date?
Sure. So, I had sent a letter, Rick had sent a letter, I mailed it to the residents who live on Maple Court that would be affected by the vacating and invited them to attend to this meeting to share any questions, concerns, or thoughts about the vacating of Maple Court. There are no updates since last week's meeting beyond that, but that is why, I believe we have some of the residents here because they want to share their thoughts, concerns, et cetera. I just asked, as before, just use the microphone so that the public can hear your comments.
So what they were sent was the thought that we'd had the last time, which was going to give this section to this home, this section to this home, this section to this home. This would become 103 East Chicago, and I believe this would become 105 and 107 Goodrich.
Before we, get to the residents, can I get a question or two cleared up? Because I don't quite understand myself. So why did the village pave the alley in the first place?
That's before my time.
Nobody knows that?
I still.
We have long time ones here.
I also questioned and did some research into why it was named Maple Court, and I cannot find why it was given a street name when it's platted as an alley. I did look into that, and Nancy and I actually talked about that, and as far as we can tell, it's been Maple Court since before Davis Junction was incorporated. Somebody gave it a name. But if you've got the answer to the other question, Cheryl, do you mind just using the mic? Oh, did you know the
If
answer?
you guys wanna grab the mic though.
Oh, yeah, you guys can take
Well,
off of there and just share it between them.
To the board, I mean, forgive me, I was on vacation and then work. This is other than last week when I attended remotely due to work, that's the first time I've heard of us attempting to vacate Maple Court.
Well, the
I know we
biggest-
were vacating alleys, but this is nowhere near similar to any of the other alleys that we've vacated.
Well, is there
It's been here
water and
before.
sewer under
Any
Maple
people
Court?
on the board's been here.
Yeah.
It's been there since I was a little kid. I used to ride my bicycle down it, so why do we gotta vacate it now?
It's not, I'm not saying one way or the other, because I don't really have a skin in this game, but regardless of whether or not Maple Court should be vacated, Maple Court is an alley. It was platted as an alley from the plat of the Village of Davis Junction. It is an alley, and doing the alley vacations previously, William, we've gone through very similar situations,
I don't remember vacating any alley that's been paved.
because we don't have any that are paved besides
Exactly.
that one.
And there must be a
No, no, no,
reason,
no,
there
no.
must be a reason it's paved.
Right.
Correct, because the alley behind the fire station is paved.
Oh, that's true.
But we didn't vacate that.
That's correct.
That's my point. We didn't vacate any
Because it,
paved alley.
But there's a reason why it's paved.
is there?
There's water and sewer under it?
Water, yes.
So you can't do anything with that road. I mean, that's not a good way of putting it, but there are no changes that can be made because it's in an easement.
There is not an easement there, it's an
What?
alley.
Well, it's city
Well,
water, ain't it?
If there's water under it, how would,
Because
So-
it's a public way, there's a utility easement that the public includes the easement for the water main. If we were to vacate it, we'd have to reserve an easement for the water main. That is true, but right now we don't have to because it's public property.
so, let's say we did that, could they do anything with,
No,
that's what my question,
yes,
okay.
the
thanks.
easement would prohibit them from doing any improvements to that area.
All right, I got you.
So the difference really is between the two paved alleys. This is 16 feet, or I should say between this alley and a road. This is 16 feet wide. The roads are 30,
66.
but that's easement to easement.
No, 30.
It's right away. So 33 feet. So it's 33 feet curb to curb. This is 16 feet. You can also tell it was platted as an alley because the fences are right on the property line. That creates another problem with plowing, is coming down there with all that snow. it's just something we came down to of talking about. It was brought up, mainly because we had stuff being put in the right of way up here. And it just kind of evolved into, why are we even maintaining an alley?
Did we start talking about it because of the road that goes this way?
This one.
And we were gonna vacate that, right?
Yeah, Lincoln.
Because the tree, weren't there plantings and everything else that was being
Hedgerow.
Put there.
All right.
I just like to, I mean, we have 2/3 of the residents here.
We do.
Technically,
So, yeah, we'd love to hear.
I'd love to
from
hear,
the
yeah,
center.
but
Do you own this house in the center?
105, I'm representing Gail, who's unable to come out
Okay.
because of physical conditions.
And that's the middle one, right, Nate?
That's this one.
The one in the middle, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to start out by saying, I believe the alley, as you call it, has always been a road designation because of the residents that are on that roadway. I think when Cheryl and I were on the board, we did pave it because we deemed it to be a roadway.
okay.
Okay, she's gonna fix me.
Let's go to this microphone, so,
I told you that.
let me speak. Let me speak, I'm sorry. So, I think that it's probably a blurb in some minutes somewhere that we did the, blacktopping of the road, but I want to say that it came about because of the water sewer being put in.
Correct.
That's when it went down the middle of Maple Court. I believe at that time I was village clerk, and there were some concerns brought up because I thought, okay, this street, I say street because it has a street sign, is gonna be blacktopped, and what's it gonna look like? So we kinda talked about that, but at the time, the mayor had, we had blacktopped a lot of the areas, and, small town, people are parking off into the grass and little areas that they can park in, and they paved all that. Just a small town thing that was done, and which is appreciated as a small town. So as we did the water sewer, I wanna say that's when the blacktop was brought in for Maple Court, because there was water sewer underneath it. So, if we can look back to when that was put in, maybe we could find,
do you wanna
what
keep
was
it?
done. But my personal, yeah.
Yes, we would like to keep it a road.
And you understand that it'll never be widened?
We do understand.
And you understand we
it'll
can
never
plow it whenever we can get to it?
No, I don't understand that. You gotta stop there, 'cause
I'm good.
I did have some complaints, so I feel a little guilty last year, because it is still a road, alley, court that we live on, and I think all the residents should get the same type of, plowing done. I don't know how you do it now, but if you take a swipe, we used to, I think, go through, try to make sure everybody had it cleared, and then they came back around and pushed back and cleaned up, and a couple of times, so I came home from work early in the morning, and it was really bad. And so when I drove around, all the other streets were clear, and they were pushing back and cleaning, so I was a little frustrated. And I understand that you have maybe a different truck, a smaller truck that you have to go through Maple Court
Yes,
with.
we can't fit big trucks through there.
Right. So I'm not sure how that works out, and I know it's probably a hassle, but personally, it is a little frustrating, even though it's a smaller
I can answer that for you.
alley.
So my question to you, is the reason you can't do Maple Court is because of curve at the end?
No, we can, depending on the amount of snow, we can get through there with a pickup. I can't take a big truck, and I don't have a salt truck that's set up, small truck for salting. So, we can barely fit through there with a plow on a big truck. One of these days, we're gonna hit the corner house, something's gonna happen. We've just been lucky so far. So in order to do that, then I have to either drop a plow off a truck, which takes time, manpower, and usually they're frozen solid when we go to do that. So it's a difficult place to plow. To answer your question as to why, we prioritize our streets when it comes to plowing. yes, we do plow alleys at some point, but the ones that get plowed first have garages on them. There are no garage access off of the alley, AKA Maple Court. So that's why it takes us a little bit longer to get there, because we prioritize the garages. Yes, the one, but like I said, that, 2 of those have access from Goodrich,
Yours,
so.
right?
Well,
Has Goodrich access.
yeah,
The one at
not
the south end has access off of the alley, yes, we know that, but I believe the 2 to the north have access. You can drive into your garage in the 2 north ones, or? I thought the access was off of Goodrich, that's what we determined.
No, 105's access is off of Maple.
Somebody's gotta help me out.
Like last week, so like Rick, when you brought
The
it
first house, I
on here
understand,
last week,
the next 2 north.
it was our understanding when we were talking about
Yes.
it last week, and you guys steer me the right direction if I am wrong, but it was our understanding that was shared with us that the middle property, whichever one that is,
Mine.
so I'm confused. So when you say yours, Nancy, I'm thinking of your house up front.
Right, no, we own the house in, Gail and I own the house in the middle.
Okay, so if I'm gonna.
Where my
refer-
mother
So-
lives.
So I'll refer to that as Gail's house. then, so
Okay,
I'm not
that's
mixing up
fine.
with yours. So that one last week when they brought it up on this, it was said that the garage for Gail's was on Goodrich,
That's the direction it faces.
correct?
But
Okay.
the driveway that is used for that residence is on Maple Court, because that's a rental property. The garage is used by my husband, my sister, and I for our own personal use. It is not rented out with
So
that
the
but
platform-
you gotta look at what
Okay.
parcel is that garage attached to. What parcel, what PIN number is that garage at?
It's 105,
So it has a garage.
but it doesn't, actually, if you wanna go by the front of it, it doesn't have an address, 'cause it faces Goodrich.
Well, the truth is that they don't plow out the cul-de-sacs right away either, because
No, I don't
they
plow
can't.
a while.
No,
I'm just saying, it's a prioritizing thing. They don't plow out, I live on a cul-de-sac, we don't get plowed out right away. They might come by and do a sweep, you know, 'cause they're turning around in the cul-de-sac.
Right.
But basically speaking, if anything, that just blocks me in more than anything else.
Right.
And they come back when they can with, you know, the smaller equipment, which isn't even a regular pickup truck. They actually come back with the with the Bobcat to do it. And, you know, it takes some time. It's just, you gotta have some patience, because it's.
Bobcat can do that
difficult.
alley.
Yeah, but it's still, again, it takes time. They're not right there right away.
yeah,
I
that,
understand.
that's what I'm saying, we have a limited crew.
I'm good.
And I
Yeah,
don't-
we have a limited crew, we do our main arteries first,
Got it.
and I'm sorry, like I tell everybody, we get to it when we can get to it, and we try our best, and that's all we can give you.
We-
I understand completely. The only time I was talking about, I had gone and seen every other street on the original side of town had already been cleaned and nicely plowed, so I thought, gosh, we didn't even get a little sweep. And it would just happen to be a really heavy day and ice, and so I couldn't even, I couldn't even really turn into my garage. But very few and far between, I'm saying, it's been good, and it's just been a couple of times that was, rough. And I understand that, but again, when I looked around, I thought, all right, you're already kind of pushing back, in my opinion. I didn't know, but, so I just made a call,
I think
but appreciate it.
I think what I'm understanding of the board and hearing you guys, I mean, I think what I'm interpreting, we're all in favor of keeping it as is long as everyone is under the understanding that it is a specialty in a unique area that, most of the plowing that I see is done by the big dump trucks now that definitely will not fit down Maple Court.
No,
And
right.
even the pickup
they
trucks we
never
find,
And I think the only thing on that
long
toolkit
as
is
you
either a bucket or a snow blower.
yeah.
Do you have a
Because it
blade
is a
for it?
unique area.
No, we would have to use equipment, we would have to use a skid loader, which is a very long push,
And you
depending
gotta
on the
kick
amount of
the
snow.
Yeah.
That skid loader won't, it's not a miracle worker, so,
But if I'm understanding you correctly, you don't want us to vacate it because of the financial wherewithal it would take to maintain the
Well, for me personally, that's what I started thinking about when I first talked to Rick. I was like, if you guys need it, I'm good, whatever. But then when I thought about it, I really can't, even turn my garage around, add on, because I thought, oh, all them pipes are under there. And then I thought changing my address after all these years, geez, I'm thinking all the legal papers and my voter card and my, the wills, all that stuff that goes into changing your address. And then, again, now that blacktop's someday gonna wear out and I don't really wanna pay for it, but, or the plowing every, season that will have to be taken care of. And, hopefully the town would still recognize that we have, that you have residents there. It's a small town, and appreciate that I live in a small town and that we, still have a small town atmosphere and we take care of everybody.
It would give you the freedom to do what you wanted with it, except for make changes to it.
Well, the thing with Cheryl is she would have to leave most of it, you'd have to leave most of it as is to get to your garage.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It would just be a
It's
long
not like you
driveway,
change
but
most of it.
The
What's
shoveling
that?
is too much for somebody. That's too much.
Well, right, but I mean, that's how she gets in it now.
Yeah, I mean, I would really appreciate it if you left it the way it was, I'm for that, but I have to acknowledge I have called and complained a couple of times about the plowing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Kinda asking as a resident, not in my position with this village. So are we gonna then pave the rest of the alleys? 'Cause we've got several other alleys that are gravel that have more access on them than that does. And so, is the village gonna move forward with that decision?
I don't think it sets a precedence that we have to pave the others. We didn't pave that one. It was paved long before.
The village paved it.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it sets a precedent that we have to do the others.
No,
And I wanna say, again, I think the paving came because we put the water sewer there. The piping is underneath those roads, those
Be less reason
streets,
to pay.
court, alley.
Why cover it?
I think that was part of the project, the water sewer project.
All right. Board members? I don't vote, so you guys gotta tell me what you wanna do.
Are we still gonna vacate the Lincoln part there between Maple Court and Goodrich?
We weren't gonna vacate that at all.
William, to catch you up to date, Dan essentially said that that is not something that we could do in the manner in which this village board had previously discussed, and so that just died as it was.
Okay.
I'm totally lost now, so we're not vacating anything. Was that what I'm?
That's up to you guys.
All right.
You gotta tell me which direction you wanna go.
I did speak to the homeowner that is on the north side of that property, on the north side of that road, and he did not have a preference. He was okay with an address change and everything else, 'cause he doesn't use the front half of that property. But, so don't take his appearance here tonight as a non-vote. He had just already talked to me about
He
it.
doesn't carry the way.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with the material that's in the village road that's not there? Okay.
But that's the other issue, right? That's a different one.
That's a separate issue.
Thank you.
If we're not gonna do anything, we can't make this.
Jared?
Okay.
I don't think we should vacate it.
Chris?
Well, we've plowed it for 25 years, we can continue.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be more of a headache to vacate it than,
William?
Leave it status quo.
I can see you down there, Dina.
I will agree with them.
All right. Vacation is off the table.
Leave as is as well, Your
Oh,
Honor.
I forgot about you.
John, we're not really worth much.
He looked-
I just went right down the road.
We got the cheap floor
I should switch you and Sharon so I can know you're down there. All right. David's over there, so. Cheryl, you wanna draw the utility bill? Draw the winner,
Before you run out.
since you stood up?
I understand. I wouldn't have stayed anyway. It's not that interesting.
Just different.
So whoever wins gets to thank former President Hawley.
don't forget your coat too, 'cause you started to leave without your coat.
151 Harvest Glen.
Again? No, I'm just kidding, I'm kidding.
That's the Kohlers, isn't it?
Take your coat.
I don't know.
Ain't that the Kohlers? Yeah, it is.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
We have,
You can, you can send it in though, they'll put it in there. They tried to convince me to do it, I just didn't think it was worth the time.
You can't win anyway.
Have a good night.
That was before.
Good night.
That was before.
All right, let's scroll this thing down.
Million rental.
What's that?
Mhm.
Sandy? Brenda.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
Treasurer's report for September is in your board packet. And then I have the auditors here to make the presentation of the audit.
Before we get to them, anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report?
No.
All right, then we're moving on.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Well, on behalf of Sikich, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to present the results of our audit to you this evening. My name's Anthony Servini. I'm a partner with Sikich. Also here this evening is Lindsay Fish, who is our senior manager on the village's audit. I know you don't have the audit in front of you. We're waiting on the final piece to be able to finalize that, so I will keep my comments brief this evening, but certainly if you do have any questions or as you go through and look through the documents, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. In terms of key takeaways from the audit, we have issued a clean, unmodified opinion on the village's financial statements as of and for your fiscal year ended April 30th, 2020. That clean, unmodified opinion is the highest level of assurance that we as auditors can provide, so do want to just commend you for receipt of the unmodified opinion. Within the audit report itself, just a few things to highlight when you do look through that document. Overall, your change in net position for the year, this is your economic perspective, big picture. Your economic net position increased just under $780,000 for the year. That factors in any of your long-term liabilities, any of your capital asset depreciation, things of that nature. From a fund level standpoint, the biggest change this year was the treatment of the landfill fund. The landfill department moved into the general fund there, so you'll see an unassigned fund balance increase in your general fund reflecting that change. When you're looking at that, that's on your balance sheet for your governmental funds. Overall, for the year, your governmental funds, you had a prior to the transfer in for that treatment, your general fund had a decrease of about $1.3 million. MFT was flat at a $26,000 increase, and then your TIF fund just had a slight drawdown about $2,000 there. Again, I know it's difficult without having the information in front of you to review, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if there's any right now. Otherwise, I want to say thank you to Brenda, thank you to the village for the opportunity to be here this evening and for the chance to continue working with you. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Make sure we're doing everything right and point out things we need to improve.
Absolutely.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, I have a comment, like, literally, it's not really for you guys, it's more for you guys, because you guys are the ones that provide and do everything to keep everything in order. So, thank you for doing all of that, because that's, really.
Thanks. This year was challenging getting all the information because I had to scan lots of documents, tons.
Yes,
So,
especially in the, with the COVID situation on that, we're always grateful for the assistance. We know it was a larger undertaking than usual on that, so we're certainly appreciative of that, and,
I hope next year you can come and look through my pages.
we hope so, we hope so too. We like
I
being
sure
on
hope
site a
not,
heck of a lot more than we like doing
I'm
everything
sure,
from
yeah.
our basement, so.
All right.
I will grab one for you, yep.
Thank you.
And then when I get the finals, I'll email it to everybody.
Excellent.
Yeah, you'll have those by the end of the week,
All right.
so, wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Anything further, Brenda? David? All right. Really loudly. Community development events, Jen?
Me. Last week on Wednesday night, we had a last farmer's market. It started out slow, but it finished pretty busy to where we had vendors that were tearing down in the dark. Obviously, dark, 'cause it gets darker sooner. But overall, for the first year of me doing this, I'm biased, but I think it was a really good farmer's market.
Good job. I think so too.
I did become a stalker of vendors at different places and question people and get cards and go taste different foods and try to get people to come and stuff like that. But, overall, and we finished obviously like the year, and I know I had, some vendors that sent paperwork that came twice and then never came again. I had some that submitted paperwork and never showed up. And I did have some vendors suggest that we charge for them to come, so that forces them to want to come. But I know we said that we were not into that, like, wanting to do that to people, because this was, like, if they were just starting something, to see how people took to it. But, hopefully, next year, we'll get things started maybe a little earlier and stuff like that, and maybe able to get some more or some more food trucks out here. Sandy, did you get a message from the Olive Branch? No? He told me he was gonna call you yesterday.
For the foreseeable future, I'm not in the office on Mondays as I burn vacation time
Okay.
off, but no, I did not receive any message.
Okay.
What are we waiting for now?
Cause he has yet to contact her to see what they have to do to come down
Okay.
to the corner. Cause they have Tuesday nights open now that Nicholas, since the food truck Tuesdays is done.
Yep.
And he wants
Today
to
was
know
last
what he
day of
has
that.
to do to bring his truck down here on Tuesday. He said that the message we had, he goes, got lost in the abyss, so. And then I am working on, another brain fart. Saturday is the village's drive-through fall party. Stressing drive-through. I will be standing in the parking lot, waiting for parents to drive through to get bags for kids.
He's driving a loop.
Yep, well, I'm gonna have them come off of Junction into the fire station and then go out the alley, that way. And I'll be there from 2 to 4,
Friday?
Saturday.
And what are they getting?
Normally when they come to the party, they get a goodie bag, and then usually games they play and they win well, I just went out and purchased things, ordered things.
So they get a
Put
goodie
it all in
bag.
a bag, so at least, 'cause, I mean, it was either not do it or give the kids something that they lost out on so much already through this year, so I figured, you know what? So work together to do that and just put things in a bag, and they can, 2 to 4, I'll be standing out there handing out bags.
Gotcha.
While supplies last.
Right.
And I think that is all I have. Yes, that's all I have, unless something else comes up to me.
All right. Finance and William?
We do actually have an emergency expenditure from a couple weeks ago.
It's done, it's all
It
matter.
took a while, didn't it?
Yeah. Not much of an emergency in the expenditure.
But you know what, though, I do have to say, from the other times that we've had this happen, they came and did it in a very quick manner. I thought it was.
I was impressed with their work.
Yes, I was
I was
too.
impressed.
I was.
I had firsthand visual. So this is for 354 Misty Meadow. You guys are all aware of the situation, right?
Yep.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve an emergency expenditure to Herbig Blacktop Construction in the amount of $3,431.41 for T&M
3,000?
work to fix the sinkhole.
Number again, 3,400.
$3,431.41.
I'll second that.
So William makes a motion to approve an emergency expenditure to Herbig Blacktop in the amount of $3,431.41. Dina seconds. Is there any discussion on it?
It just looks really good, I'll put that in there.
Roll call, please.
John?
It's
Yeah.
smooth.
Dina?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Smooth,
We just wanted it to get taken care of before we lost more of the road.
right.
Absolutely. It was gonna go.
Mhm.
Fergie and his crew did a fine job. Shored it up, put down sandbags. Kept more erosion out, 'cause we got more rain after that too on a Saturday. Thanks, Fergie.
You're welcome, thank you.
Sorry, the motion passed at 7:50. I didn't say that. Anything further, William?
No.
Parks?
No.
John?
No.
What about ordinance?
No. Ordinance enforcement, sorry, Jared?
Well, what's going
You
on with the
skipped me
fence
earlier.
for Ogle Crossings, Sandy? What's going on with the fences for the, lots that the basements are open?
Dan's working on it. It's in the village attorney's hands at this point.
Alright,
Do I know, did I miss it?
Microphone.
You can answer the
Yeah, I was just curious, I don't remember that, and maybe I should remember this, but I
What was the
don't know.
question?
What is this for?
It's the, as Jared was it's the, we have three, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
3 open basements in Ogle Crossing that have been sitting
Oh,
for,
okay, like I got you,
Yes.
the safety fences, I'm with you.
Yes.
I was
Remember
thinking
what I
safety,
Correct.
okay,
for the
I got
burn
it.
house? Yeah.
correct.
I'm with you.
Are they abandoned?
No, they just haven't been built
There
on.
ain't no house on it yet.
They've been sitting for quite some
Just
time.
walk in the middle of the night and fall.
Make sure the green light's on that button,
On the very top
on
of
the,
it.
yeah, it's on the top.
Yeah, it's on.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. The 3 foundations, 2 on Burlington, 1 on Depot, they've been sitting there, a year and a half now, I think. And there's a lot of little kids that running around and they're playing on them. That's extremely unsafe. It's probably a 10-foot drop to a cement floor below.
Oh, I just needed my memory jogged on which one this was, that's.
As far as fencing, we're not allowed to have metal fencing.
It doesn't.
In the name of safety, of public health and safety, there's
That
typing
doesn't matter.
requirement of what you need.
So I'm not
for
gonna
your
have any
HOA.
homeowners coming at me.
And you can tell them that the village took over at that point. If the fencing goes up, it's because the village put it there, and we're not gonna comply with your HOA guidelines.
It's not permanent fencing anyway,
It's not.
so.
It'll be a temporary chain link fence. We did
Okay.
something very similar over on Sunny Hill. Yeah,
Awesome.
so feel free to blame it back on the village if
It'll
they're
be
like-
about 8 feet
Not a
high.
problem.
Yeah.
It'll be about 8 feet high.
No.
The chain link was
Is it
pretty,
the
it
safe-
was pretty high. Oh, yeah, it was
If you're
pretty
behind
high.
the panels, yeah, they're pretty tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Is somebody not built?
No, we wanna keep kids safe and,
I
The
know-
builder separated into like 3
I
groups,
know the background, yeah,
and I don't know what's going on with the builder who owns
Brother.
those.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying to figure that out, which is why we're.
They won't answer me, so they've stopped answering,
That's why we-
for us.
because I'm trying to get them to mow the grass as well, and they won't do that
We
either.
talked to our village attorney, so we'll see what we can get from there.
anything further, Jared?
Nope, that's it.
Streets and Chris?
For next week. We'll discuss ours next week.
All right.
Oh, I'm like, no, next week's not
Thought
up.
he was giving us an update for next week.
Utilities, Dina?
I
You
don't
can wait,
know
right,
anything
John?
else but the-
Water tower?
Water tower still doesn't have water in it. We're hoping by this time next week, we're gonna begin the process of filling it. There's actually a process that we have to do, 5%. We can't just throw water in it and go. So we're hoping our cure time will be done by, like I said, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And we will start that process of filling and, treating the water. So, we just basically have to get through the inside coating has a cure time that has to be at 70 degrees or above, but obviously with our cooler nights, that just extends the cure time. So, so far, so good.
Still on course for the 22nd.
We're hoping.
All right.
We're hoping, yes. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dina? Anything further?
No, sir.
Anybody have anything on economic development? Public?
Mike?
First of all, do we have any idea when the street's going through on Autumn Wolf?
Yep, this year. I don't know if they'll finish it this year or not, but it'll go through.
It'll go through before the snow flies then.
I don't know if they'll get it finished. They'll start it. It depends. The problem is we're getting late in the year and how late the asphalt plants stay open. Our engineer told me that it's better if they can put one layer down, let it settle, and then come back and finish it. But that's not cost effective. But
Okay.
it really depends on how fast or how quickly they can complete the ditch section to get to the road and whether or not the asphalt plants will be open for them to finish it this year.
Okay, I just have a homeowners asking me, so I want to give them accurate information. The next thing is, when that street goes through, I've had several people come to me and wants a speed bump on Santa Fe and a speed bump on Northwestern to slow down the traffic that's going to be avoiding speed bumps in Harvest Glen.
You should probably
Is
have.
that a
you should probably
possibility
have
of
some-
something to look at?
They play heck with the plows though.
Yeah, it's just interesting, 'cause I know there's been some speed bumps, and then speed bumps were removed, and then, like, then we have.
Well, there
like-
should be a stop sign, right? Wouldn't
Yeah,
that?
there should be.
There is.
Those work.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
that, you don't have a very long stretch there from one stop sign to the next.
No, over on Northwestern, there's no stop sign.
They fly through there. I mean, they must do 35 sometimes
I'm
through
not
there.
talking about Northwestern, I'm talking about Autumn Wolf going through. That's not a long.
No, it's just.
No, I'm talking
The whole
about
thing is once they get on Northwestern,
once they get on Northwestern and they make the left turn and they go all the way.
I'm sorry,
to-
I misunderstood.
That's all right.
Where are you talking about speed bumps, on Northwestern?
One on Northwestern and one on Santa Fe.
All right.
'Cause they can get, and there are so many kids and they fly into the street. I mean, as kids do.
And you can't see when you go around that
That's
curve
true.
on Northwestern.
Yeah, and, you know,
Can't
so that was my other question. Is that a possibility of something we can look at, or is that not a possibility? Homeowners are asking me about that too. I told them I'd ask. Anybody? No? Nothing?
No, we probably have to.
So this is where it's gonna join, and then
Yeah, it's just.
they fly through here. I've had people complain about it before.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause you go down that curve, you can't see nothing.
Same with Santa
Well,
Fe
and
because
the
of
whole,
that sharp
the whole
curve.
design of the curve is that it's supposed to slow people down, but
Yeah, right.
Well, if I recall correctly, the problem
It
you
doesn't.
have putting a speed bump is, that's all curve.
you'd have to
You're
put
not
it
supposed to have a
here.
speed bump on a curve.
Or you have driveways.
There's stretches, there's a stretch of straight on both sides of that big curve. The same with Santa Fe, you could put it on that straight stretch.
It would be-
Hmm?
Santa Fe would probably be doable, I mean,
You'd have to do it.
But you could do
here,
it like
Yeah, you do it
between
right
between
Or
the two Santa Fe's.
Somewhere here.
Yeah.
It
You
almost is
can't do
better
it
right
here,
where
you
the
can't do it
curve-
up here, 'cause you're gonna take a chance on
finish that.
taking them off the street.
I know you're gonna get grumbling whether you do it or not do it, so.
Yep.
But I'd rather have kids safe than, and listen to grumbling.
I don't know how much it slows people down, I prefer that.
I've seen people fly over them, so. it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
That and they put one wheel on the cement part anyway. and
Is
have
there a
one
stop
wheel
sign
on-
anywhere on there?
They blow right through them. Not on Northwestern, no. But there could be, I mean, maybe that would at least slow them down.
I don't know.
Yeah,
We
but-
could ask our engineers.
In Illinois, you can't
For
use a stop
recommendation.
sign to control speed.
But you can't, I didn't know that, but you can't put a stop sign in the middle of Santa Fe, 'cause there's no reason.
You can
So-
put it at an intersection though, right?
You can put them in an intersection if there's a reason for it. There has
Really?
to be enough,
Public
there's,
safety?
This is
there are
awkward
cri-
enough that Chris is asking for a stop sign.
Depends on.
I hate them, trust me, I really do.
there are criteria around
But
putting
I don't
stop
think
signs.
this,
There's
I
a
mean, I
Bob
drive over
Wiley
the
and
speed
whole
bumps
thing.
every day, and it doesn't stop people.
Right people
I mean, they
Oh, it
don't,
slows me down.
well, it slows me down too, but I see people go,
Oh, so do I.
This stop sign has
But
a
it
reason.
slows them down from 35, if they hit that at 35.
Yes.
It will slow them down to at least 20, or 25 maybe.
slows me down, but
It still
I don't go
slows them
that
down.
fast anyway,
These
so.
those spring-loaded bollards that pop up.
And a tire shop on there.
Go gadget catapult. Okay?
Cause there's no real road sections there, huh? They're all, oh, there's one at the end, well, that's gonna really be helpful, huh?
I would say that at some point in time, if, when we do open Autumn
How-
Wolf, we see
Well-
the increase and everything, then
Then
we have the
different.
engineers
Can you-
point
Okay.
out if
But I would definitely remind people, though, they're speeding down it now. It's not gonna be all the Harvest Glen people speeding down their
you-
No.
street.
Can we just like estimate where we think how that road's gonna go?
What, Autumn Wolf?
Yeah,
Pretty straight.
It's gonna go right here.
right.
right through.
And it's
Right there.
gonna, oh,
Nope.
straight that way, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at that open lot thinking it was gonna curve through
Nope.
that lot
Right
right
here.
there.
Not a long distance,
Oh.
trust me, it's pretty short.
No, I was looking at that other lot, it
I don't even
Do a
think it's
little,
1,000 feet.
open lot right there, that's where I was.
We could loop
Yeah.
it, we could loop it way over here.
That would be the May household, and I don't think so.
Yeah, we can afford that, all right.
Sorry, Sharon.
So to focus on your question, I don't think you got a yes or a no about the.
I
speed
didn't.
bump, But it did plant a seed for us to think about, like, as
Okay.
traffic increases.
Figure
what-
it out.
Yeah.
That's just, homeowners are coming to me, so I'm coming to you guys
Figure
and
it
just
out.
letting you know. And I have just as many not just as many, but I have homeowners that, oh, no speed bumps, no speed
Oh, I'm
bumps.
sure.
Oh,
You have a half and half, I'm sure.
So damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I would rather have safe kids and complaining than a check.
And we've looked at other options, but like speed tables, speed bumps, and there are things out there, but they're all
Like I
Dry-
said-
in warm climates, they work great.
Yeah, like I said, speed bumps would at least slow them down. And yeah, you know, the snow plows would have trouble, but they have them in Harvest Glen and they have to deal with them there, so
We don't do speed bumps, we do speed humps.
speed humps are
They are
fine.
much larger.
That's fine too. Whatever works. But,
What, are those on top, or were those built into the road?
It's on top of.
They're basically on top,
All
in
right.
a sense, yeah.
okay. One last question, the license agreement. What's going on with that?
Be a great thing to hold on.
He's going, what license agreement?
You were saying that to me.
No,
Husband, I like
no.
it.
The village attorney, it does still have that in their in their court. The
Okay.
village board is aware that it's in their
It's for the
court.
flagpole.
That's still in the process.
It is still in the process.
People are asking me, and I want to know
It's
what.
for this little piece of land right here with the
Yeah,
flagpoles.
Oh, it's for the corner.
No, at the 5 acre, the
yeah,
whole
Dan
5
is
acre.
working on it.
Well, tell me you don't know about that either.
I'm sorry, my partner Dan Bolton is working on it.
Okay.
He has not brought me up to speed on it.
Okay,
But I can get an answer to Sandy tomorrow.
that'd be great. And then, sounds great.
It's not for the whole 5 acres, though, it's just.
No, it isn't, it isn't. As soon as I said that, I realized that wasn't accurate.
I knew what you were talking about.
Thank you. As soon as I said it, and then somebody said something over here,
Still
and
in our court. Yeah. Yep.
the ball's in your court,
The
you're
ball
just
is still in
juggling
our
it a
court.
bit.
And the board knows there's a lot. Yeah.
It's being worked on.
Okay, that's all I have.
Anything further, Sharon? Anybody else wanna be public?
Motion adjourn.
Second.
Jared makes a motion to adjourn, John seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.